There's a lot of urgent things that are unfolding right in front of us. We need to talk about it. I have some prophetic insight into what I believe is happening right before our eyes, both globally and in our current culture. You know, today we are seeing the precipice of a government shutdown. We're watching that unfold. There was just a conversation between Trump and Bibi Netanyahu. They did a press release today about the 21-point peace plan in the Middle East. And one of the things that is very serious and concerning is the new announcement of the digital ID in the United Kingdom. And also I want to talk about the progression of societal danger that's taking place in the United Kingdom. And we'll look at some of the government shutdown points, some of the things around it. But really, there's a big scenario that I am working through, praying about right now, and that's this. I'm very concerned about religious wars in the streets of America. And religious wars in the streets of America is something that I believe is due directly as a result of the open border narrative we just had in the last cycle. And so we're looking at this, and I believe the Spirit of the Lord has wisdom for us, clarity for us. But as we're about to get into this, I want to show you a number of things. Please do like and subscribe to the Joseph Z YouTube channel. Share this on whatever platform you're watching on, and do be a part of our text to join list. That's 719-719-3637. Text the keyword join. We have a whole new feature that we're going to be launching with that, something that I think is going to be very helpful to everybody. And download the Joseph Z app. We're about to do some very specific programming just on the app. We'll be announcing that soon for things like full disclosure, where we talk about these issues in a very pointed and clear manner. And we'll be letting you know about that very soon. So please do get the Joseph Z app. Download that right away from your favorite app store. It's free. All the things we offer you, including the text to join, are free. And of course, thank you to the partners of the ministry and the broadcast. We have so much that we are accomplishing because of you. If you want to join the partner family, go to josephz.com, partner today. We'll call you back regularly to pray with you. But let's go into this. There's so much that's happening right now. So the government shutdown is something that's taking place. I would like to give kind of a summary by Senator Mullen. If we could pull that up, let's take a look at his summary of this. And I think it's very helpful. Let's watch together.
Go into a shutdown midnight, September 30th. What does that mean for the American people? October 1st, the military gets paid. October 2nd, federal payroll goes out, so all federal employees will get their paycheck. Social Security paychecks will continue. Medicare, Medicaid will still be honored. But what happens if it goes farther than that? Well, come the 15th and 16th of October, those checks won't go out anymore. For what? Well, we're waiting on the Democrats to once again shoot down a clean CR, which a clean CR means is a continuing resolution, keep funding the way that it's continued to go. Yet the Schumers of the world, which there's only one, Chucky, he's not wanting to allow the Democrats to vote on it. Why? Because he's scared. They're scared of their own base. He's truly 100% scared of his own base. He's afraid that AOC is going to run against him. So he's so worried about his seat that he is willing to shut down the federal government. Even though those Democrats that want to vote for it, he's threatening them and saying you can't vote for it. He's literally holding them hostage too. This is the exact same CR that they voted for 6 months ago, and the same type of CR they voted for 13 times underneath Joe Biden. It's for political purposes only. How can this happen when Republicans are in control of literally all three areas, right? I mean, you got the House, you got the Senate, and you got the White House. Yes, in the House, it did pass. If it got to the president's desk, yes, he would sign it. But remember, the Senate is a chamber for the minority to have a vote. And so while we only have 53 Republicans, it takes 60 to pass a funding bill. You may have to have 8 or 9 Democrats to do it. So we can't do it all alone. It has to be a bipartisan vote in the Senate chamber. So stay tuned. Hopefully this won't continue to move the way it is, but I don't see a way out at this point. You can't argue with crazy, and that's where the Democrats are acting right now. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, so when we're considering all of it, this really does have some Soros fingerprints on it. There's a number of issues I think that will come to light. We got to pray through this, though, because this could go on. And they're saying there could be as many as 100,000 either layoffs or people resigning from government posts. And there's just a lot to be praying about with this because this affects the whole nation. There's a lot involved with that, of course. Let's look at what Steve Bannon has to say about it when he's talking about the government shutdown. I want to just look at some of these comments, if we could, right now. Let's watch this.
There's out there that 100,000 employees of the federal government, various employees, maybe even some contractors, are prepared to essentially quit, resign, retire, do whatever. leading up to midnight tomorrow night on the 30th at midnight is when we run out of money. Right now, Russ Vote. Can we play the clip? Can we play the clip from Russ Vote? Let's play the about Russ Vote, about the memo that was in earlier. And if you've been able to pull the Caroline, let's pull that too. If you don't, that's fine.
Last night, the OMB director, Russ Vote, he told agencies to prepare shutdown plans that include permanent layoffs. What more do we know?
We obtained this memo late last night. It was sent over by the Office of Management and Budget. And in it, it says that they are preparing for a potential shutdown. And some of this is normal. And they've had some planning calls apparently about this week. And there's some politics in here, some finger pointing that the administration is doing at Democrats in particular, saying that they are inching closer to a shutdown over a series of insane demands, including $1 trillion in new spending. But this note goes farther, and what it suggests is that the agencies could use this moment to do mass layoffs. It says agencies are directed to use this opportunity to consider reduction in force. And as you know, Jeff, this administration, I should say, has really relied on these RIF notices, these reduction in force mechanisms to really slim down the federal government in the last 7 or so months of the Trump administration.
Okay, let me look right at you. Here's some of the things they're talking about. Some of the discussions over spending cuts. There's a clash over that. Republicans are pushing the $100 to $150 billion non-defense cuts for Project 2025. That's what they're saying. Democrats demand no cuts, want clean funding bill. It's nonsense what they're trying to push with this. There's a healthcare standoff. Democrats are seeking a reverse to Medicaid cuts, $50 billion a year, and GOP ties to it. Border security, cultural issues all around this. These are things that they're clashing over. And these mass layoffs, this is a very serious thing. 100,000 federal employees they're talking about, federal job cuts, aiming to shrink bureaucracy. Democrats call it a power grab, but I think there's a lot of cleaning house that's happening as well in this whole issue. There's a partisan blame game. We see that taking place. The Senate needs 60 votes to really push some of these things through. You're looking at this. The GOP needs those 60 votes. They're accusing Dems of obstruction. Dems are, of course, blaming Trump's scenario with all this. But here's the thing. There's an impact if there's no deal with this, and it is 800,000 furloughs, parks close, IRS delays, $100 to $3 billion a week economic hit, they're saying. The military pay gets delayed, WIC funds, and all kinds of risk by mid-October. There's a lot that we got to pray about with this. I do feel that if there could be, there's a silver lining in the middle of this somewhere that we're going to see as we get into the whole picture. Now, it could turn around suddenly, or this could play out way into October, and there could be an outcry in a variety of ways. And so we got to look at that and consider this whole picture. Now, there's another thing I want to get into because I have a prophetic unction I need to go to here with us while we're live, because I have such a sense of turmoil and the threat of war that's in the air, a heightened threat of war, both domestically and abroad. And there's something I've got to go to in just a moment, and pray for me, because I really sense something I need to write out and begin to do on the whiteboard. But just before we do that, I want to continue with this, because there's a number of things that are taking place in the world around us right now. We just saw Trump and the 21-point Gaza peace plan that was unveiled just, in the last little while here. We're looking at that. That is a very serious thing. And the summary is, you're going to play ball. You're going to do what we want. But Bibi Netanyahu's coming out and just saying, if they don't play ball, we are going to finish what we started. And the likelihood of that actually being real peace long-term is very, very slim in my mind. But, things can happen. So we'll just continue to pray and look at this whole picture around it. Let's look at Bibi talking about the 21-point peace plan, and maybe we'll show his address from the United Nations. And let's just take a look at that if we could. And I want you to see this here, and we'll start in just a little bit into the clip when he's at the United Nations. Let's take a look at this.
Details are emerging this weekend of a U.S. proposed 21-point peace plan for ending the war in Gaza. Moments ago, I spoke exclusively with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ahead of his pivotal meeting tomorrow at the White House with President Trump.
Pretty strong.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, thank you for joining the Sunday briefing. I want to start by asking you if you've seen this 21-point peace plan and if you plan to declare support for it at the White House tomorrow.
Well, we're working on it, Jackie. It's not been finalized yet, but we're working with President Trump's team.
And we've seen what they've talked about already.
And I hope we can...
Let's jump ahead to about minute 30 where he's talking at the United Nations.
And again, no matter how diminished their forces, that is why Israel must finish the job.
Will you agree to amnesty for Hamas?
Well, I think the details of this have to be worked out. But in previous statements, I said that if Hamas leaders, for example, are escorted out of the country, if they finish the war, release all the hostages, we let them out. That is something that I've said in the past, but it has to be worked out. All of that, I think, is part of the plan. I'm not going to preempt it because we're having these discussions exactly right now.
How many Hamas fighters do you estimate are left? Is it more than before the war started?
No, it's considerably less. But as we decimated them, what they did was they stole the food that we were giving to Gazan civilians, hiked up the prices, and then used it to fund the recruiting of replacements. And the replacements could be 14, 15-year-olds. That's what they're doing. I mean, they're actually blackmailing Palestinian families to give them their kids in order to fill the ranks that have been decimated by us. But no, it's not the same number at all. And by the way, you have Gazans now fighting Hamas. And say we've had enough of this. We have to have something else. And they're fighting Hamas. They're killing Hamas.
Let me look right at you. Here's something that is happening. We're seeing, honestly, a global mass upset that's happening just all over. And so I'm really praying because there's such a concern that I have, a sense of pressure just that's everywhere. Now, many people that are discerning, you can see this, you can sense it. You know, one of the things that you got to consider is, when the sons of Issachar began to stand up in the culture of their time, they knew the signs of the times, they knew what to do about it, and they knew who to unite with, their people, their tribe. When we're looking at what's happening in Jerusalem, Israel, all of that with Gaza, you got Bibi Netanyahu, that was a predicated or a pre-interview before he did the announcement with Trump. And basically what they're saying is, as long as this deal lasts, we'll agree to peace. But Bibi basically said, if they break this, we will finish what we started. That's kind of where it's left right now. And there's a lot more to it, but that's the simple summary of it. I want to look at something that just happened today. Today, we saw Trump stand up and address generals, U.S. military generals, talking in a format that looked like General Patton in front of the big flag. And then Pete Hegseth gets up and begins to give a dissertation and just a speech that was very fiery and direct and basically dismissing wokeism and all the things. But let's start here with Trump. Let's look a little bit at what he had to say to the generals today. This is very important. Let's watch this for a little bit and get the feel of what he was talking about.
Together over the next few years, we're going to make our military stronger, tougher, faster, fiercer, and more powerful than it has ever been before. I rebuilt our nuclear, as you probably know, but we'll upgrade that also and just hope we never have to use it. We have to hope we never have to use it because the power of that is so incredible. I see things, I don't think they'd show it to you. I really wouldn't want them to show it to you. But when you see the result of what's left, you never want to use that. Never, never, ever.
Peace through strength.
We were a little bit threatened by Russia recently, and I sent a submarine, nuclear submarine, the most lethal weapon ever made. Number one, you can't detect it. There's no way. We're 25 years ahead of Russia and China in submarines. Russia's actually second in submarines. China's third, but they're coming up. They're coming up. They're way lower in nuclear too, but in 5 years they'll be equal. They're coming up. And you don't have to be that good with nuclear. You could have 1/20th what you have now and still do the damage that would be, that'd be so horrendous. But I announced that, based on his mention of nuclear, and it was really a stupid person that works for him mentioned the word nuclear, I moved a submarine or two, I won't say about the two, over to the coast of Russia, just to be careful, because we can't let people throw around that word. I call it the N-word. There are two N-words, and you can't use either of them. Can't use either of them. And frankly, if it does get to use, we have more than anybody else. We have better, we have newer, but it's something we don't ever want to even have to think about. But when somebody mentions it, that submarine started immediately thereafter. And it's just lurking, but I'm sure we're not going to have to use it.
This is that pressure we're talking about.
An amazing, it's undetectable.
Let's do this, Elijah. Let's jump over to Pete Hegseth, and I want to show maybe a minute and a half of him addressing the generals and what he had to say. This is on Fox News. And look at the way he just says, we're not doing woke here anymore. And if you don't like that, you can basically leave. Watch this.
But I look out at this group and I see great Americans. Leaders who have given decades to our great republic at great sacrifice to yourselves and to your families. But if the words I'm speaking today are making your heart sink, then you should do the honorable thing and resign. We would thank you for your service. But I suspect, I know, the overwhelming majority of you feel the opposite. These words make your hearts full. You love the War Department because you love what you do, the profession of arms. You are hereby liberated to be an apolitical, hard-charging, no-nonsense, constitutional leader that you joined the military to be. We need you locked in on the M. Not the D, the E, or the I, not the DEI or the DIE of dime. By that I mean the M, military, of the instruments of national power. We have entire departments across the government dedicated to diplomatic, informational, and economic lines of effort. We do the M. Nobody else does. And our GoFos need to master it in every domain and every scenario. No more distractions, no more political ideologies, no more debris. Now, of course, we're going to disagree at times. We would not be Americans if we didn't. Being a leader in a large organization like ours means having frank conversations and differences of opinion. You will win some arguments, and you will lose some arguments. But when civilian leaders issue lawful orders, we execute. We are professionals.
Okay. So we're right-sizing, we're setting things in order. There's a number of things that are very good that are being said that we're working through, and the military is getting more enlistments than they've had in a generation with what's taking place. And so there's a lot of good things that are happening in the U.S. But what I want to get into is something that's going on globally, and we've been talking about it. Other people have been talking about it. It's all over the news in some areas and outlets. But the United Kingdom has just announced they're going to enforce a digital ID. Now, if we could, let's show the clip from Starmer, the elected official, the Prime Minister of the UK. I want him to, in his own words, break this down for you. So let's watch what he says.
It does need to be fair if we want to maintain that binding contract that our politics is built on. Otherwise, it undermines trust, undermines people's faith that we're on their side, and their belief that the state can and will work for them. And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that. Because decent, pragmatic, fair-minded people They want us to tackle the issues that they see around them. And of course, the truth is, we won't solve our problems if we don't also take on the root causes.
Let's go to the next clip where they're breaking down with the Business Money clip about what digital IDs are. Let's look at this.
Call. The British government is pushing forward with plans for a national digital ID system. They've called it the Brit card. And if that name doesn't send a chill down your spine, you have not been paying attention. It isn't just about proving who you are online. That all sounds rather lovely. This is about building a centralised, state-controlled digital identity system that could be used, will be used, to link your finances, your medical history, your travel movements, your social media activity, even your social activity in real life, and more. It's quite frankly a digital dog tag. And once it's clipped around your neck, you will not be able to take it off. So let's start with the basics. What is this Brit card? According to leaked briefings and government statements, and frankly, any of us who've been paying attention knew this was coming, the Brit card is going to act as a unified digital identification that every British citizen can use to access public services to prove their identity. And eventually, though they won't say this part out loud, link with your banking, your health, and your travel movements. Let's also not forget that we are already seeing the slow creep of programmable money. The Bank of England is working on a digital pound and has been for a few years. And there are active conversations now about linking spending capabilities to your digital identity. That means if your ID...
Yeah, so you get the idea. It's basically a digital prison. And so that's what you see happening there. Let's look at Nigel Farage and what he has to say about it. I want to just take a look at this. He really kind of breaks it down as well. Let's look at what he says.
Have digital ID. That's the way we'll stop illegal immigration. Well, think about it. Germany has ID cards, strict ID and checks. It's made no difference at all in Germany, and nor will it here. All that digital ID will be is a means of controlling the population, of telling us what we can and can't do, of fining the innocent. And didn't we see it all when we had the pandemic, when you had to have vaccine ID to travel, to do various things? Did that stop the COVID pandemic spreading? Did it hell? All it did was put cost and inconvenience on everybody else. I also worry about massive data banks being held by the government, being hacked by foreign governments, by private companies, by criminals. I do not see a single benefit to the government having digital ID other than them controlling what we do, what we spend, and where we go. And we, in Reform, are wholly opposed to it in every single way.
Now, when you talk about this, when we are working through this process and seeing what's happening in the UK, Nigel Farage is talking about maybe running an election in 2027. They're saying that it could happen in 2027. And many are speculating and believing that he could actually get in and try to start right-sizing this. But the issue is the UK is under siege right now. I mean, I don't know if you've been watching this, but there's such traumatic things happening with the border invasion and all of it. And here's what I want to do. I want to just show you one person that began to explain their experience living in England. And so you see these IDs coming in, you see all this stuff coming, and they may try to say, hey, we want to bring order to the nation, but they've created the problem. Now they want to try to solve the problem with digital IDs. And there's just so many negatives to what's happening. But let's look at this person that begins to talk about their experience in England over the last few years and the progression of societal madness. Watch this.
American who spent the last 3 years living in England, and everyone always asks me if it's as bad as they say it is or portray it in the media right now, to which my answer is always, it's worse, because you don't understand how this affects your day-to-day life. You cannot put your purse on the back of your chair or in the chair next to you because someone will come and take it. You cannot have your phone on the table because someone will walk by and take it. You cannot have your phone in your hand without it being connected to you via a strap because someone will take it. When I say someone, I mean migrants. Migrants from Muslim majority countries. Everyone knows it. No one wants to say it. And all of these crimes go unreported and unsolved. The first year I was there, 2021, I would wear my nice jewelry out and about, just like my everyday jewelry. And I would hear of things happening, but I wouldn't be like completely fearful. Second year, I started taking off my nice jewelry. Third year, I had to warn every single person that came to visit me not to wear your necklace because migrants from Muslim majority countries will come and just rip it off your neck. You literally have to make the decision if you want to live or wear nice jewelry, because you know that you'll be a target. And they will kill you for your watch. They will kill you for your earrings. They will kill you for your necklace. It happens all the time. It is now the normal and what you have to center your life around in England. If I'm going to dinner wearing nice stuff, I have to get in a cab, get dropped off right in front of dinner, be escorted to the door, and then escorted back into the cab, and then I'm home. But I was lucky enough to have a porter. And even in front of my building in West London, Zone 1, which is as nice as it gets, I would hear women screaming from my flat. Screaming about their phones being stolen, screaming about being scared, about being followed. You have to leave and live with the expectation that something bad is going to happen, and it's always at the hands of migrants from Muslim majority countries. The UK will fall because leftists want a virtue signal. Because these migrants, these open borders are all happening through leftist ideologies. Who you vote for matters. It affects your day-to-day life. Islam, the culture of Islam, not just the religion, the culture of it, because it's a way of life, it's not a religion, is inherently incompatible with Western culture. And we need to close our borders to all of them. Because it is suicidal to think that they will come into our countries and assimilate. They're not doing it. They're harming our women and children. It's suicidal empathy. And you're literally sacrificing women and children to virtue signal. You're sacrificing our safety to say that you're a better person. And guess what? You're not.
Okay. So this is part of what I'm sensing also on a global scale, even in America. And there's this sense I have, and I've been praying through something because I had an encounter late last night while I was praying. And I don't normally talk about these things, but I really saw something. And what I began to see was I was praying and, I drifted off to sleep and I was apprehended, found myself looking at a scenario. This happens to me from time to time where I have encounters and I begin to see things, and I don't like to sensationalize it or try to go too far with it, but I legitimately had an encounter where I was looking at a political woman. It was a woman. She was a politician. And as I was looking at her, she was demanding things, making a speech, going through the motions. And this is, of course, just a prophetic vision. And as I looked at this woman's eyes, her eyes changed. And suddenly I went past her eyes, looking at what was behind her eyes. And behind her eyes was a demonic figure. And it was actually a spirit. And this spirit had such hatred in its eyes. And I began to go eye to eye with this thing, looking at it. And I found the Spirit of the Lord coming upon me. And I began to bind and push this thing back. And I was looking at this and I realized that was the political spirit that's trying to shut down the voices of reason, the voices of Christianity, the voices of hope, people like Charlie Kirk. And I saw this thing. I saw the demon. And I began to recognize that we are not, of course, wrestling with flesh and blood. We are wrestling with principalities and powers that are being empowered by puppets, by people that absolutely are allowing these things to take place and allowing this mechanism of darkness to come through their seats of authority into the natural. Nothing revelatory about that. But I'll tell you, when I had an encounter with it and I saw it, it began to really shake me. And I realized how violent, how wicked, how hateful these things are that are working through these individuals. And I believe that is what's happening in the UK. That is what's trying to manifest in nations like Canada, in Australia. You're seeing it around the world. It wants to have the United States, and the United States is the last holdout. I'm praying for all the nations right now. I'm praying for Russia. I'm praying for all the nations in the world right now, speaking the blessing of God over them, that there would be revival that breaks out. God doesn't want anybody to perish. And so I'm speaking blessing over all these things, but at the same time, there's a spiritual force that's working in the United Kingdom right now that is absolutely ungodly, and you're watching it run its full manifestation, and it's about to take another lunge forward. There will come an upheaval. There's coming a how can I say it, an uprising in the United Kingdom. I believe it's going to be more than we've ever seen before, an uprising that will begin to come. But one of the things that I'm praying against right now is not only war around the world and the pressure of it. You're seeing it, you're sensing it. I'm sensing it. But also wars in the streets of America over religious ideology. And I believe it's about to come to a head. And I also believe that there's a plan that the president has that he's going to announce. Something's coming around the bend where he's going to say, we're not having this here, to a level we've never seen before. And I believe that is part of what this preparation of generals is about, where you see Hegseth giving them a pep talk, like a Patton-style pep talk. You see this unfolding, and I'm telling you that we need to prepare for this. So one of the things I'm concerned about with this shutdown that's taking place is the opportunity for wicked players to try to take advantage of a moment of weakness, trying to jump onto the scene. We got to go to prayer over this. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the whiteboard because I sense some things that are unfolding, and I'm going to just try to walk through this a little bit. And I believe that the prayers of the righteous avail much. I believe so powerfully we wrestle not against flesh and blood. We can turn the corner on some of these things. I have a word about the coming year, and I sense something that's an opportunity for 2026. Let me go to the board and begin to share with you. So one of the big things I see and I'm sensing with this is this whole picture that there is war in the air, okay? It's in the atmosphere. It's on the lips of many people behind closed doors. I can sense this. I'm feeling this. I'm praying against war. I'm praying against these things that would try to, just be horrible for anybody involved with it. In addition to this, the things that I'm sensing over America when they're talking about digital ID, I know that right now, this is not something being pushed here. We're seeing this whole picture that's unfolding with digital ID, but this also leads to central bank digital currencies, okay? Now, there has not been an outlawing of this in the US. As a matter of fact, do we have that clip? And I can show it right here of Marjorie Taylor Greene with Steve Bannon talking about that. And if we could play it right here, that'd be great. We could do a side-by-side with that even. Let's watch this.
I'm very confused about the Genius Act. I thought there was a deal made by the president to make sure that included was going to be the central bank digital currency. There'd be no possibility of a backdoor to get that. So where are we?
Steve, let me explain something. In 1971, we went off of the gold standard. The Federal Reserve did that. And we went to cash, a cash society, and the value of the dollar has drastically gone down to the buying power is less than 10 cents now from where it was in the 1950s before we went off the gold reserve. What's happening today on July 17th in 2025 when no one is paying attention, no one's talking about it, everyone is in blind rage about the Epstein files, and I don't blame them. However, right now, what is being voted on today in Congress is the entire setup, groundwork, and entire infrastructure being laid to move from cash to digital currency. And the number one thing that is not happening today is a ban on a central bank digital currency. This means the ability for the government to take control of your digital bank account where all your money is and turn it off. And this is why I'm so upset and it's not being talked about. Steve, I was the only no vote on the rule last night. And Congress set a record last night and no one's talking about that either. This was the longest vote held open for a rule in history. And there will be no ban on a central bank digital currency. There will be no way to protect your ability to fully control your digital currency in the future. And I'm voting no to this today. I don't know if there'll be any other no votes on the Republican side, but I'm voting no to this because I'm a Christian and I've read the Bible and I believe what Revelations 13, 16 through 17 says. And I just cannot vote for a future system that will do that.
Okay, so that's Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's talking about July 17th. That's, just a few weeks back that they voted on this and it went through, and we thought that this wasn't happening. So if you combine digital ID with this type of economics, here's what I think, and I'll say beyond what I think, what I really sense, even in the spirit realm, when I look at this, I believe this: they're going to continue to inflate and raise the debt, raise the debt, raise the debt, and the day will come where they flip the switch. They'll flip the switch and say, you know what, nothing here. There's no more money. Or the money is at a tipping point, so now we will give you an issued digital currency. And when this takes place, this will be the quintessential intersection of our time. Will it happen in the next 3 years? I don't know. But what I do know is possible is that they could get to such a crisis, they say, we have to. And if this happens, this is a assured thing. This will happen. If we get here, this will happen. Or if we get here, then this will happen as a result. In the beginning, it will be a way to continue functioning and doing things. But we know that this is going to happen eventually anyway, according to the Bible. We know that the system of Antichrist is being set up right in front of our eyes, and the man of sin will come into power, and these things will take place. I believe while we're here and what we're doing now, we can hold much of this at bay in this season. We really can. I believe that. The Lord is very much for his church, and he listens to the prayers of the saints. And we've got to continue to intercede. Now, let me go into more about what I think is happening. So this is something we'll have to very much keep our eye on as we're seeing all this. The CBDC, which is really just under the rug right now. Nobody's really talking about the full scenario that could unfold with this. But let me go into this here again, back to this wars in the air thing. What I really am believing is, number one, we have always said 2025 was going to be a year of fire. This is something that I've prophesied for 5 years. A year of fire. This is going to be a year of fire. And by fire, I'll quote Rick Renner. His word in the beginning of the year, he said, batten down the hatches, it's war, it's war, it's war. I believe the fires of war want to rise. There's going to be fiery collisions this whole way. But I do see this. I keep seeing this picture as we go forward into 2026. I'll just write this in a different color to make it clear. 2026. I heard this, all roads lead to this. 2026. What does that mean? Well, I also have heard these words, pick up sticks. In 2026. Could it be? You know, my daughter Allison, we were on a live broadcast during the election, and just before that she'd been sharing words that she saw a building, and the building represented the nation, and the building had tipped left. And if you were with us, you remember this. She shared it even well in advance of the election. She said the building was tipping left so far it was almost to the ground, and as the building got close to the ground, it almost broke and was completely destroyed. And people were falling out, people were dropping out of the sky, all these things were happening, and then suddenly the building shot back up from a breaking point, nearly completely destroyed, shot back up, almost right-sized, and then went far to the right, but only half as far to the right as it was to the left. And when it got there, then it slowly came back to center. And as this happened, everything was slamming around inside the building. There was damage to the building, all of it, but it stood in its proper position once again. And then the people inside said, it's time to usher in the elephant. And they brought the elephant into the building, and the elephant was beat up and dirty and all that, and they began to clean the elephant. And of course, we represent what that means. We understand the representation of what that means politically, that the elephant would come in, and there's a right sizing of America that had to happen. Now, she prophesied this to me from a dream and a vision well before the election. We broadcast that. Then the election night, she shared it again before all the votes were counted and all of it. I believe we are in that, and we're seeing the right sizing. I believe this leads to 2026. All roads lead to this. And the picture I keep getting is a picture of that building being right sized, just going to where it's supposed to be, the elephant coming in, all of it, picking up sticks. If we do our part with all the turmoil and difficulty that we've seen, I believe there still is another round that we will see the United States of America get right-sized in some areas. Now, we have all this to continue praying about, and this is very much a clear and present issue. But when we look at this, I believe this is the beginning of the new America. what we've been prophesying and talking about, and I believe this leads to 2028. I feel 2029 is a year of great danger, great issue, so many things. Of course, people prophesying about Apophis, the asteroid that could come down under our satellites and even strike the Earth. You know, I'm not convinced that will happen just yet. I've been praying into that. So many people are saying this will happen. You know, I just believe the mercy of God is so on the scene right now with intervention, holding things back. But let me go into something else I've not talked about in quite a while, but I believe is very important right now. I also believe this. The big thing I'm seeing is religious wars right in our streets. And this is that word that, boy, one of my prophetic mentors used to talk about all the time, and I still feel this so strongly, and I pray about this often, but it's Decapolis. Decapolis, what is this? 10 cities, symbolically or literally burning. Now, am I wanting this? Absolutely not. Am I praying about this? Yes. You know, I released this word, and there's a word in prophecy from the Latin called sensus plenior. It means a deeper, fuller meaning. And sometimes when you walk into things, you'll see something and it'll manifest one way and it'll manifest again another way. I prophesied 10 cities burning going into 2025, and I was so concerned about the beginning of 2025. And then we saw that. We saw that burst out in California, where several cities were burning all at the same time in that whole district near Hollywood, all that. And you recognize that was happening. And even TV networks picked it up, started airing it, talking about it, because we prophesied it, you know, a year or 2 years in advance for that year. And then it happened. But in my spirit, that was not the fulfillment of this. That was like a predicated sensus plenior that began to happen in advance. So Decapolis, I see this happening all over the nation. You know, this 10 cities burning, and I believe it represents religious wars. I also have to tell you, I believe that 47, which is our current president, is going to make a declaration. And he's going to make a declaration regarding Islam. Something is coming with this. And this is going to be a very serious scenario. And in this process, watch, because the UK, it's headed for not just unrest, it's already experiencing some of that. You're seeing terrible things happen there because of what's taking place in that nation with the border issue and all of it. But here's what I believe is going to take place. There's going to come not just an uprising, but there's going to come a revolution. But the revolution is something that, very frankly, that is why they're trying to bring about this digital ID quickly. Because they want to control what they know is on the horizon, what they know is coming. And you see this unfolding right here. But I want to say this too. Going into 2026, this is going to be something I need to say here. I'll put it up here. 2026, when we talk about this, the word I see is absolutely mass upsets. My spirit man is very much, I look at Colorado, for example, and I believe this is being primed for a mass upset. Colorado, where I am. I believe even California, so states like Colorado. Other states that are blue are headed for this mass upset. I believe this is happening. This mass upset is in the works, and this mass upset is going to be a change. I believe you're going to see a mass upset here in the United Kingdom. You're going to see it in Ireland. You're going to see it in many of these places. We got to pray for Canada, and we've got to pray for Australia and so many of these nations that are under this terrible ideology that's happening right now. But I feel one more round is coming. One more round is coming to the nations where the Lord says, I am not finished yet. I am not finished yet, not at all. I'm going to bring about a revival. I'm going to bring about a global shaking. Once more, I will shake heaven, I will shake earth. And I believe this is coming in a tremendous manner that's going to give the opportunity for the gospel to go forward, and the cries of the people will be heard. And I'm telling you, there's revolution coming in many different places. What we've got to pray about is that this doesn't turn into civil war in this nation or many of the nations, but there is coming a revolution. And I hear the Spirit of the Lord saying, I'm the Lord your God, I fail not, I'm going to bring this about, and I'm very displeased with many of the things that have been propagated and pushed forward in the nations. And I've heard the cries of my people, I've heard their cries, but it will not be a process before the change can happen. Because the church has been apathetic in so many areas, and many churches, praise God, are standing up. Thank God for the shaking after Charlie Kirk, that wonderful martyr of the faith who stood up with righteousness and began to reset the environment that we're living in. And I'm telling you, it is that young lions prophecy that I got in 2015 as I was in Trump Tower, and I declared by the word of the Lord, I see the young lions coming. America is one more round because the young lions are coming. They're going to rise. And the young lions, I believe, were birthed out and began to stand on the scene after Charlie Kirk. It birthed it. It launched it. It was prepped. They were ready, and then that was the war cry. And now we are going into the rest of this 4 years of redemptive instability, which I believe leads to 2026. We're seeing this happen. And there's this picture now. We've really got to pray over the next 3 years. The next 3 years. We got to pray and just begin to push back against this in any way we can, through legislation, anything. But this is a digital prison if this comes about. It really is. There's things unfolding with this. The digital ID narrative, you know, it's in the UK mostly right now, all of it. You're seeing this really break out, but they are headed for a revolution. And the Lord is saying, I am not pleased with some of these things. And there's going to come firebrands and warriors and those that stand up. And I believe we have one more round. Should we get through 2028 and see the new America come for the good of the church, for the good of the righteous, I believe we can go forward with great, great momentum for another decade. We can. But listen to me. Many of these wicked players that have been behind the scenes working the whole time still completely plan a turnabout for the global reset in 2030. They are trying to make that happen as if Trump never won, as if things are taking place. You're looking at new leaders stepping into the World Economic Forum. You're looking at all of this. I was so encouraged looking at Trump giving the speech at the United Nations. You know, all I got from the United Nations was a broken teleprompter. It wasn't good at all. Whoever did this is in big trouble, right? He did that. I was going to the escalator. I'm going to the escalator, and the escalator was broken. That's what I got from the United Nations. Thank goodness. The First Lady's in great shape. She's in great shape. She's in great shape. Yeah, I'm in great shape. And then went up the escalator. But that is what he began to speak about at the United Nations. You look at this whole picture and you're recognizing that he is dissatisfied with this. I believe there's coming now, oh man, there's going to be a shakeup with the United Nations. A shakeup. It may be a temporary shakeup, but I see like a pin being put into that where their reach is not what it once was. There is a change coming to that. The Lord is saying, wow. Wow. Okay. I'm going to share this word. You go ahead and pray about this and discern it. There is judgment coming to the United Nations. Judgment is coming to the United Nations. A Romans 13 type of scenario where those that are appointed for a purpose are misleading in their purpose because God is standing with Israel. Make no mistake about it. God is standing with Israel. And as long as America stands with Israel, there's a covenant blessing on the land. And do not fall for the deceptive lies of these people that are pushing for and trying to drive this narrative forward of replacement theology, that the church has replaced Israel and all that nonsense and mess. One of these days I'll have to just break out all the scriptures that show that God promised the boundaries and land to that exact territory of Israel. And if anything, they have so little of what they're actually promised biblically and what that means. And as believers, we've got to stand. And yes, people in Israel, they need to repent and be saved. I'm not saying the politics are great, none of that stuff. I'm talking about there's a covenant promise with the land, and we have to watch that. We got to stand with God's land. Now, with this mass upsets that I see coming, I believe that we have a 3-year window. One of the big things we're praying about right now is this government shutdown. We got to continue to stand and see the Spirit of the Lord bring life out of this. Every time one of these things comes about, there's a few things I look for. One, what is the purpose of this from the nefarious entities? Well, that's pretty plain. They want to get control. They don't want to be unseated. They're trying to make chaos, all that, right? The second thing is, though, there's always a silver lining. God is always redemptive. It's not doom and gloom with the Lord. It's always redemptive. As long as the ecclesia is here, meaning the Greek word for the church, it's always redemptive. I need to come over here and look right at you. It's always redemptive. What God purposes to do is always a redemptive plan. He's never looking to bring about, stealing, the demise of life, destruction. That's the devil's MO. God's plan is life and life more abundantly. And Luke 1:17 says this so clearly. It says the spirit of Elijah will come to restore the hearts of the fathers to the children. And when he restores the hearts of the fathers to the children, the byproduct of Luke 1:17 is so powerful. Luke 1:17, the disobedient will come under the authority or the auspices of the wisdom of the just. You know what that means? It means that as this restoration is happening, as God is beginning to bring in fathers and mothers in restoration, and the young lions begin to rise, the reformation piece of Luke 1:17 is that the disobedient are brought to the wisdom of the just. That doesn't mean they all get saved. It doesn't mean they all have to, become Christians and do all these things. What it means is, however, that when the righteous reign, the people rejoice. When the wicked are in power, the people groan. So we got to continue praying for our president. We got to pray for every leader of every nation, that goodness and mercy would manifest, that Jesus is made Lord, because the end is getting close. I like to say it this way. When people say it's the last days, well, it certainly is. But beyond that, it's your and my last days. Our lifetime is only so long. Either way, it's our last days. So what we do now matters forever. Now, I want to just say this. If you've ever thought about partnering with this ministry, I want to encourage you to do it now. We're building out this World Broadcast Center. We're going to begin to do intensives. We have a form and a circumstance that we're bringing forward to bring about the vision of 1 million for 1 billion. That's 1 million clear-eyed, clear-minded disciples. And we're going to do it. We're going to do it through media, and we're going to do it through discipleship. We're going to do it through prophetic training. We're going to do it through a variety of means, and we're building it right now. And it's going to be measurable. It's something that we can grow into and fulfill that vision of raising up 1 million disciples, reformers, young lions, anybody that wants to be a part of this. And we will then go towards that calling of reaching 1 billion, 1 million for 1 billion. My job, Ephesians 4:11 and 12, is to raise up and equip and edify those that need to know the word of the Lord, know how to discern the signs of the times. And when we do this, I believe that will launch into reaching 1 billion. Luke 1:17, the wisdom of the just. In other words, the disobedient will come to the wisdom of the just. And that is something I believe is a long-term calling for this ministry. And I'm encouraging you, if you ever want to stand with us or help us do this, we're so grateful to you. I hope you partner at josephz.com right now and you become a partner. We're going to call you back regularly to stand with you and bring about the word of the Lord and really encourage you. We need to stand together more than ever. And we are after your sons, your daughters, your grandchildren, everybody. And we're looking for people that want to partner and get in the fight with us. And we can continue broadcasting and releasing prophetic accuracy to what's going on in the culture. I hope you'll join us. And also get our Joseph Z app. Download that right away. You can get it from your favorite app store. It's free to you. There's no cost to this. And we're going to be doing special broadcasts straight on the app. Things that we'll talk about that we don't want out there in the public, we're going to talk very directly about on the app. think it'll be great. We'll have some special guests that'll be pretty shocking and awesome. The other thing is the text to join number, 719-719-3637. You can text this. We're doing it, and the text to join family is growing so much that with the text to join, we'll be sending it out, and it's hard to get all the texts out at once because we have so many on here. But when you sign up for this, you will get texts from us. Sometimes it may come from a different number, all of that, but you'll know that it's us. You'll see it and all that. But I'm telling you, you want to get a part of this. This is something that's very imperative with where we're headed. So I just want to say this. Jesus is Lord. We got a lot to do, a lot of work in front of us, but I'm up for the challenge. I know you are, and God's calling you tremendously right now. This shutdown that we're looking at right here, right now, let's pray. Let's pray for a good outcome and what we see happening. I want to mention also, I got this book, The Spirit of Elijah. I encourage you to get this at josephz.com. This will help you navigate exactly what I'm talking about and give you faith to overcome right now. Faith to overcome what's going on in the culture. This will really help you. Please do subscribe to the Joseph Z YouTube channel. And there's so much I want to show you with our World Broadcast Center as we build it out and we're doing it. And we have conferences coming up this next year. Go to josephz.com. Look for all of our schedule that we're building into. The Voice of God Conference in Arizona. I think we've had to close registration because we have so many. We have a lot of people registered. So if you're registered, please make sure you come. We have seats saved for you, and it's going to be a tremendous time at Voice of God Arizona. And it's right there on the Joseph Z website, josephz.com. I hope you check it out. And thank you so much, those of you who partner. And if you're not able to do anything, we love you. We're here for you. It's never about that with us. But if you're able to, and you're able to stand with us, we got a lot of work to do, and we have a monumental job in front of us this next year. I hope you join us. I really do. Let me pray for you. Father, I lift up my friends, everybody watching right now. You're watching. I speak life over you. I speak victory over you in Jesus' name. I pray that the words we've released, that they'd give glory to Jesus and help the listener in Jesus' mighty name. We've got a big job to do. I bless you. You're empowered. Even on a bad day, you're anointed to be the very best there is. A man or woman with a revelation from God Almighty is not at the mercy of a culture that's trying to go mad. God is with you. And I have great hope for your children, for our children, and the future of this nation as we continue to stand in the middle of a present and evil age. Remember, the church is the light. God's called you. I bless you, and I'll be back again very, very soon. Don't go anywhere. Please do watch this.
We couldn't stop talking about it after we left because we couldn't sleep. It was just too exciting, I was like, this is amazing, and we just felt so much better. The message is just so perfect for us. And everybody else in here, this place was packed, and it was so amazing and so uplifting.
I had this walker with me, and I was using it, and then I came in here and went through the tunnel, and I saw him go, here you go, here's what you didn't have before. And as soon as he did that, I stood up and I was like, wait, I can stand, I can do this. And I was like, well, I don't need this thing anymore. And so then I just started walking around and praising the Lord.
I'm walking around with a cane. I came there, prayed. I mean, look at me. I don't have my cane. I'm able to stand. I'm not flipping over like I'm going to fall.
But I would say if anyone has any doubts, get there. Get to the next one. Yeah. Check it out for yourself and experience God at the Voice of God.
Yeah.
So,
don't miss
awesome.
it. Don't miss it. You will be changed forever.
That's right. That's right.
I wanted to say a very special thank you to our partners. Partners, thank you. Whether you've been a partner with us since the very beginning, the early days, or whether you've recently become a part of our partner family, I want to just simply thank you. Because of you, we're able to do so many things that we could never have accomplished without you working with us together. We're so grateful for you, and from the very bottom of our hearts, we wanted to say thank you to you. And we pray for you every day, and we stand with you, and we're believing God is going to do magnificent things through this partner family in the coming days. As a matter of fact, I have a promise from the Holy Spirit about it. Now, If you want to become part of our partner family, or you're even on the fence about it, thinking about it, I would encourage you to do so today by going to josephz.com, or you can text the keyword give to 719-259-0029. Your partnership helps us advance the gospel, and it helps us fulfill the commission God's given us to raise up 1 million to reach 1 billion. That's lives. 1 million clear-eyed, clear-minded reformers to go win 1 billion. 1 million for 1 billion. And we know we can do it with your help. I believe with your help, we can impact the world. And we're looking forward to stepping into this at a greater capacity than ever before. I just want to say thank you and invite you to the family by going to josephz.com today. I'm Joseph Z, and I want to encourage you to get my brand new book, Spirit of Elijah. This book will begin to deliver you from the midst of a present and evil generation. You'll see breakthrough, you'll see life, you will see the hearts of the fathers restored to the children. I'm telling you, there's a supernatural revelation that has a Sons of Issachar breakthrough anointing on this book. You need this book. It's going to help you. It's going to help you navigate the days of darkness and evil with victory and overcoming horsepower. The Spirit of the Lord wants you to walk in the fullness of a revelation and a prophetic breakthrough. Elijah came and stood against these nefarious characters of his day. And that same Spirit came through John the Baptist, and the same Spirit is here as a predecessor or as a forerunner to the return of Jesus. Listen to me. The Church of Jesus Christ will not be overcome by the gates of hell. But what it needs when things get so difficult is a spirit of reformer and reformation to stand up with the voice of a prophet and say, no, you move. When darkness says you move, do what we say, do our bidding. We say to darkness in the spirit of Elijah, no, you move. It's time to take back the culture. It's time to win. It's time to overcome, because our children are worth it. Please get your copy today.